Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to me be here with you today and again in Korea, and it's always a pleasure to see that the room is full of people willing to learn new things and to keep improving the Korean swine sector. Today we have had the honor to come with Rodrigo and to learn more about Clostridium difficile, to Clostridium perfringens type A, about its etiology, pathogenesis, which factors to consider about the diagnosis, and then we have seen now with JJ, which is the current situation of the pathogens causing neonatal diarrhea here in Korea. And now I have the honor to introduce you the new solution that hipra brings to Korea, which is SUISENG Diff to provide even more control in the neonatal diarrhea. This is the index of the presentation. We are going to briefly talk about why the neonatal diarrhea, although we have very efficient solutions like its SUISENG, it's still a recurrent problem in the farms, causing a highly cost. Then we are going to talk about which are the features that brings SUISENG Diff to the market and how the features are going to be converted into benefits. And finally, we will talk also the range of solutions that are going to complement to the SUISENG range. First, let's talk why it's a recurrent problem. We know that the neonatal diarrhea is an unsolved problem that we are going to frequently find in our farm, and it is because two main reasons. One reason is because a problem related with multiple management factors like the hyperprolificity, like replacement, cleaning and disinfection, and then we need to count that it's a multifactorial cause. We have virus, we have bacteria, we have parasites, we have pathogens that are going to affect in co-infections, we have pathogens that are commensal, we have also the role of the microbiota. So everything makes that it's a problem with a difficult solution. So the risk of facing diarrhea problems in our farms, it's always to be there. What we can do is to manage the severity, and the severity is going to be like the mathematics. On the bottom we have the resistance, the protection we are going to confer to the piglets through the sow vaccination. And then on the top we have factors like the virulence of the pathogens or the co-infection of the pathogens, and another factor like the bacterial and the viral load. How well do we do the colostrum intake, the cleaning and disinfection? So based on that, it will be the level of severity we have. Highly costly, why? Well, of course, we can think about an increase of mortality, but the increase of mortality is only happening when we have an acute outbreak. For example, acute outbreak of PD, where we have co-infections of viruses and bacteria, but which is much more frequently is the direct impact in the piglet performance, in the growth of the piglet. The diarrhea is going to mislead the growth of the piglet, having less piglet with a higher weight at weaning, having less homogeneous litters, having piglets with a lower weight at weaning. And I want that you remind one number, okay? We can think that, okay, I have problems of diarrhea, no problem. I inject antibiotics and I stop the problem, and the problem is only during 1 or 2 days. But what we can see in the bibliography is that, for example, in this study from Denmark, where they were evaluating which was the real impact of suffering diarrhea. And they observed that 1 day of diarrhea means 9 grams lower average daily weight gain. So it means that a piglet suffering diarrhea only 1 day in a lactation of 20 days, it is causing almost 200 grams less at weaning. And also we cannot forget about the cost of those antibiotics that we are going to use and the time we are going to invest. So now let's know more about which is the features of the new SUISENG Diff. SUISENG Diff has supposed a milestone in the swine industry because it's the first and the only vaccine against Clostridium difficile, and also including the protection for the Clostridium perfringens type A. At hipra, we have been the first pharmaceutical company developing a solution for Clostridium difficile in piglets. About its composition, it's a toxoid vaccine. We are going to develop directly immunity against the toxins, the two major toxins that it's going to produce Clostridium difficile, which are toxin A and toxin B. For the part of the Clostridium perfringens type A, we are including the alpha toxoid. And we are going to help to elicit the immunity through Hipra G. I guess that you have already know about the adjuvant that was developed and patented by Hipra, and that you can also find in other vaccines from the same range, like Erisent Parvo, Rinicent, and the perfect complement for SUISENG-Diff, which is SUISENG. About the vaccination protocol, which is the vaccination protocol of SUISENG-Diff? Finally, we want to develop immunity in the sow to be transferred to the piglets. So it's the same protocol that other vaccines similar like SUISENG or Rinicent. For the primo vaccination, we are going to have a double shot 6 and 3 weeks before farrowing, and then in every cycle we are going to do a revaccination 3 weeks before the farrowing. About which formats are available nowadays, the format we have is the 10 doses format with a total of 20 milliliters, but as you will see, the vial has a total volume of 50 milliliters. Now you are going to understand why. So with both SUISENGs, with SUISENG and SUISENG-Diff, we are going to provide the broadest protection against neonatal diarrhea in the market. With SUISENG, the one that you already know, we are protecting against E. coli, adhesins, and LT toxoid, against Clostridium perfringens type C, and also we cannot forget about Clostridium novae, the cause of the sudden death. And then we have the already commented toxins for Clostridium difficile and Clostridium perfringens type A. In Europe and America, we have the registration of the combination of both vaccines in just one shot of 4 milliliters. We published the data that supports the safety and efficacy of the two vaccines combined years ago in the Le Mans Swine Conference. So here you can see how easily the European producers are mixing both SUISENGs. As you can see, both vials are of 10 doses, but SUISENG-Diff vial is half empty with the idea of transfer the content of SUISENG inside of SUISENG-Diff. And then easily can be applied in a shot of 4 milliliters. So here we can see a table that is summarizing the contents of the vaccines. Okay, here it's the protection we have with SUISENG and SUISENG-Diff, and on each color representing each vaccine you have which antigens are containing. But it's not only the antigens, also we have to reinforce the role of the adjuvant and also the technology we have behind the vaccine. With SUISENG, it's a subunit vaccine. But, well, you can think, okay, I'm already applying SUISENG together with Rinicent. Can I apply together SUISENG, SUISENG-Diff, and Rinicent? Around 3 years ago, we published in the APBS in Rio de Janeiro the results of the clinical safety and efficacy of applying combined in just one shot of 6 milliliters the three vaccines. And we demonstrated that the safety and the seroconversion against all the antigens contained in the vaccines were the same when applied in 2 milliliters in different injections or in 6 milliliters in just one injection. So, which advantages bring us to combine the vaccines? Finally, we need to think that every day we are including more and more vaccines in the vaccination protocol, and the way we are able to combine and to apply together vaccines that are applied with the same vaccination protocol, we are going to improve this animal welfare because we are going to reduce the number of injections. This reduction in the number of injections also are going to help to avoid the iatrogenic transmission, and also for the workers in their farms is going to save time and also possibilities to have injuries when vaccinating the animals. We launched SUISENG-Diff in Europe at the beginning of 2022, and since its launch, we have generated a lot of knowledge. We have published 5 peer-reviewed and 45 different publications in scientific congresses. We have a huge knowledge about the prevalence of the agents, how to do the interpretation of the diagnosis. We have a lot of publications about the efficacy of the products in the field. So we can say that at hipra, we are experts in the control of the neonatal diarrhea. So now we are going to see how these features of the vaccine are becoming into benefits in the field. We have demonstrated during these 3 years in the market with SUISENG-Diff that we provide a wide range of benefits. First, we are protecting the piglets. We have demonstrated protections till day 28. So, as we have seen with Rodrigo and with Bruce and with Guille, it's this length of the immunity, it's enough to protect against Clostridium difficile and Clostridium perfringens type A. And we have published a lot of papers highlighting the benefits. We have had reduction in the percentage of piglets suffering diarrhea, reduction in the usage of antibiotics, increased in the waning weight, in the average daily weight gain. Even recently, we have demonstrated how the reduction of the neonatal diarrhea leads to a lower intestinal inflammation and a better microbiota at weaning. For all the field publications we have done, we have selected this one. This one was carried out in Italy, in the group Ciola, which are the main producers of Parma ham in the world, and it was published in the American Association of Swine Veterinarians. It was carried out in a 4,000 sow farm, working in a 3-weekly batch management and weaning the piglets at 25 to 28 days old. They were using a trivalent vaccine containing E. coli, Clostridium perfringens type C, and Clostridium perfringens type A, and they were facing recurrent neonatal diarrhea problems during the first 2 weeks of life. And at the diagnostics, we found high bacterial load for Clostridium perfringens type A, Clostridium difficile, and also we detected the co-infection with rotavirus C. It was a trial carried out only with gilts, and it was a parallel trial. The animals were vaccinated at the same time, and the lactation of the piglets was also at the same time. In total, we included 48 animals. Half of them were vaccinated with both SUISENG and the other ones with the vaccine B. All the piglets were individually followed since the birth to the weaning, and we detected the next results with statistically significant differences. We had 8 grams higher in the average daily weight gain in the SUISENG Diff group, also a weaning weight of 300 grams more, and considering also the mortality we are going to see, a total higher weight at weaning per liter of 11.5 kilograms. But this is not only these differences in terms of performance. Also, here we have represented the results of each of the parameters. And as you can see here, the results, the deviation we had in the group vaccinated with both SUISENG was much lower, having much more homogeneous piglets at the weaning. And about the mortality, there was also a huge reduction, okay, but here we need to bear in mind that we had a co-infection between CPA, C.difficile, and rotavirus type C. And we had a reduction in the 35% of the mortality, from a total mortality during the lactation in the vaccine B group of 21.1% was reduced to 30.6%. And as we have said, it is not only about the vaccines, also in the neonatal diarrhea we have much more factors involved, like the management. So now we are going to see which are the solutions that hipra has apart of the vaccines. At hipra we count with the Entero program, which are the range of services and the range of solutions for the control of the neonatal diarrhea that has 3 main pillars, which are the diagnostics, the evaluation of the colostrum intake, and the evaluation of the risk factors related with the neonatal diarrhea. Regarding the diagnosis, JJ has already introduced the Entero check. With Entero check, we have the possibility to detect the main pathogenic factors of Clostridium difficile and Clostridium perfringens type A, but not only the detection. Also, we are going to evaluate the load of these antigens, which plays a significant role in the interpretation of the results, because remind that whenever we have a higher load, higher are the chances that these pathogens are the ones causing the diarrhea. The second pillar is the colostrum intake. Finally, we are vaccinating the sows to elicit immunity that must be transferred to the piglets. But now we must be sure that the piglets are receiving this colostrum. So that's why at hipra we have developed the MDA transfer test. The MDA transfer test is a tool that allows us to identify in an objective way if the piglets are having enough colostrum or not. We are going to provide a score of the colostrum intake and also different graphs that are going to detect us where we are failing. If we are failing in the gilts, if we are failing in the multiparous, we are also going to provide graphs doing a benchmarking between your farms and other farms, and not only the particular colostrum intake Also, if you, for example, are a group of farmers and you want to compare how you are performing in your different farms, we can also carry out customized projects. And finally, the third pillar. It's a multifactorial problem, and for that, we have developed, with the collaboration of Luis and Joaquin, which is a Spanish veterinarian specialized in farrowing area management, an audit of the risk factors causing the neonatal diarrhea, which has 5 areas, which is the management, the health, the replacement, the feeding, and the facilities. This tool, it's a tool of free access, and it's available on hipra's webpage that is going to, as I said, to evaluate the risk factors related to these 5 pillars, and it's going to provide you a report with the areas of improvement you have in your farm, with a benchmarking comparing your results with other farms, etc. So, as conclusions, with SUISENG Diff, we have a new tool for the control of a recurrent problem, such as is the neonatal diarrhea, that is going to provide us multiple benefits, which are the reduction of antibiotics, higher weight at weaning, reduction of mortality. And applied together with SUISENG, with our both SUISENGs, we are providing more benefits than no one and than ever. And also we need to think about the services, okay, that are useful tools that are going to help you in your daily work in your farms. So finally, with these tools, we are going to protect the piglets since the first day of life. So thank you very much for your attention. 감사합니다.
감사합니다.